Ladies and gentlemen, how's Dark Elf, Shadow King, whatever you might be, shout out to the dwarves today. Yeah, it's great to be in the Empire today, but my question is, how great is it to be playing Raid Shadow Legends today? Well, we're gonna have a little bit of a chat since today is a new dawn, a new day, and a new fusion here in Raid Shadow Legends. Should you be going for Granyt Doorkeep? Should you be taking him for Granyt? Well, we're gonna talk about that. We have kind of initial reviews of this guy, as well as, again, reminding you guys to plan in advance for what's to come in Raid, for things that you might be a bit more interested than Granyt Doorkeep. But I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna keep it nice and simple. There's nothing more interesting than, well, my giveaway code. There's a link down below, QR code up there for all the new players out there. I'm gonna hook you up with 4 amazing champions right away. A legendary Corrado, Ugo level 15, and then of course to GOAT at level 30, and the one and only Deacon Armstrong once you hit a level 40. All amazing stuff. Some might argue some of those characters like Deacon Armstrong, I don't know, maybe better than Granyt Doorkeep. So we have actually, before I get ahead of myself, Raid Shadow Legends finally fixed Dungeon Divers. Do you know what they did? They now call it Gear Hunters Event. Can we clap it up, baby? Revolutionary changes, baby. Revolutionary changes happening here inside of Raid Shadow Legends. So I'm guessing now, yeah, instead of Dungeon Divers, it's just called Gear Hunters. Meaningful changes, my friend. Although Immortal Soulstone might not be too bad for the upcoming Raphael event that's happening in Raid. But here's the question. You know, the next 2 weeks we have this fusion on our hand. Should you be going for this? Well, let's take a quick peek as to what this event is all about. We have our traditional fusion events happening in Raid. 16 rares needed to fuse 4 epics, which then in turn are needed to fuse the one and only Granyt Doorkeep. And I checked out some videos, some early gameplay testing, and I kind of have where my mind is met up. And I will say this at the very minimum, even if you're not going for Granyt Doorkeep, whether you don't have the resources or you're trying to save for next month, I do recommend picking up at least the epic and the rare. The rare actually looks pretty all right, for considering the fact that it is a rare champion at the end of the day. And I can't help but feel this right here. This year has been a very solid year of fusions, monthly characters, whatever you want to call it, the monthly chase that we have for characters. Maybe, Ishiyama, Lysander, Beastbane, but even those characters are still all right for the most part. And I'm kind of getting that this might be in a similar category to like Ishiyama, Lysander, Beastbane. Like, these are great characters, but, if you're trying to save more important events out there, this might be skippable. But I figured this gave me a good laugh. It's time for your new fusion. Because for the most part, all these characters here have been really banger. Here is the schedule for this event. Now, this isn't one of those where you just collect a bunch of fragments and you put together the epics or whatever. No. You have to actually get each of these rares, and you need 16 rares in order to put them together. And as you can see here, well, you're not gonna have a ton of wiggle room. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So not really a lot of ways to skip out on, unless you push for the Summon Rush, which then gives you an epic, which is essentially 4 characters. And that way you can maybe skip out on a couple, 4 other events. Maybe you don't want to do the Champion Chase tournament towards the end. All right, well, you got some opportunities in that regard. Maybe you want to skip a couple Dungeon Divers. I personally am not going to push crazy hardness. I'm going to go for it, as I'll explain, and it really comes down to this right here. I'm always seeing these questions. Am I ready for Leo? Am I ready for Leonardo? As we've been talking about his events coming up next month. It was shown in the data mines, leaks, whatever you want to call it. And I believe someone actually posted in here. We're expecting this Leonardo event to show up right after, October 7th, so right after the current fusion ends. So when your resources are a bit dry, boom, they're gonna hit you with Leonardo, which seems to be the best Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. They're all like really solid, as is. But I've been hoarding up Sacreds. I haven't been really spending them at all, and I'm trying to get ready for this event because it's likely gonna be similar structure to, as this graphic shows, this Padraig event that we had. And as it says here, you need at least 91,000 points to get the hero only. And remember, the red stars are also gonna be in here. So about another double that, another 90-some thousand. And with these events, 4,500 points per Sacred Shard. I would say at the minimum, maybe don't sweat the red stars. Maybe you'll get it by the mercy of RNG when you're opening up Soul Stones when we have the Raphael event. Okay, you can put it in the wish list. Hope for the best. But at the very minimum, we don't know what the other thing's going to be. It could be soul stones, could be dungeon diving. Not 100% sure. There's going to be usually two ways of doing it, but the primary way is going to be sacred shards. If they somehow, this is not going to happen. If they somehow line up soul stones with Raphael's event for this event too, okay, all right, then that's not going to be all that bad. But here's the thing. Again, if you need 91,000 and you divide that 4,500 sacred shards, you need about 20 sacreds. And of course, you could supplement that with epics, but it's not going to be nearly as much bang per buck. So 20 sacreds gets you the champion, more or less, and you might be able to reduce it by a couple more, depending on what else you can pair along with it. I'm in a good spot right now since I've been really good at my sacreds for a while now here. It's been driving me crazy. It's like, oh man, there's all these events going on. I'm currently sitting at 37, so I'm definitely more than enough in the clear to do this upcoming Leonardo event. I'll get the champion. It's the red stars. I might be a little short on. Maybe Grandma could spot me a few bucks. We still got a little bit of time. And when we look at this summon rush, because if you're doing Granyt, you need to at least do the bare minimum in the summon rush. And we don't know 100% what the breakdown's going to be. But generally, if we go based on, I believe, what's his face? My gosh, one of my favorite characters, Tholan Foulbeard, had a similar event, and you needed, I believe it was 3,500 points to get the rare that was needed for that champion. And if we go remind ourselves how this works, is 500 points per sacred shard. So you needed about 7 sacred shards in order to get that rare champion. So I'm guessing I'm gonna need about 7 if I'm gonna do this summon rush in this upcoming week. So even if I do that, I'll still have some left over. But with that said, I just enjoy doing these fusions. It's not going to put a huge damper on my inventory. I'm not going to miss out on Leonardo. When he does come out, I just might have a small struggle with doing the red stars, but I think I'll still get the red stars. I can supplement with whatever after. And of course, we still got a few more weeks. Another 2-3 weeks of getting additional sacred shards through the clan boss, right? So, but here's the thing. Even if you may not be in a spot where you can get Granyt Door Keep, is he even good at the end of the day? Well, we have some initial reviews out. Hell Hades, and of course things change. River Black Plum didn't have crazy, it was all right reviews, and he turned out to be a banger character, the best character I think I've ever gotten from a fusion, period, hands on a monthly chase, whatever it was. So things could change, but right now it's a 4-star overall. From what I'm gathering, kind of like what we assumed, HP damage dealers kind of have a hard time really punching high up there with damage, but the more control aspect of this kit seems to be a lot more interesting. That being ignoring the unkillable, stone skin, block damage buff. So this might be better for things like arena, maybe not so much for PvE. And I want to give a shout out to Nub Raids. Checked out his video. He got early access to this character, and I'm just going to summary. I recommend you watch. There's a lot of testing, but here is basically the short, sweet summary of what he said about it. Nub, take it away.
Like he wants, he's not going to be a good damage dealer. He's just not for any of this PvE content. It seems like it's just not there, but he's bringing very, very good utility. Decreased defense AoE, block buffs AoE, increase accuracy AoE for your team, and then most importantly, shatter. And increased crit damage is kind of meh, but the shatter is really nice. And if you've got champions in Merciless like Thor, you could potentially, I've gone the wrong way, you could potentially give them, it's like a 10% damage increase basically versus the Ugo from that particular run.
So yeah, there you go. So maybe not the best for PvE stuff. And again, things could always change, right? It's like people didn't expect Titus Blackman to be as amazing as we know him to be right now. But overall, that's kind of the sense I'm getting from the gameplay. I'm seeing maybe not the best for PvE stuff. It's all right. But I think for maybe mid-game or even just arena stuff in general, that's where things can be very helpful. And just the more support attributes, the control support attributes that he brings seems to be the most interesting thing about him. And the way I look at it too, if you have the resource and you're not going to be behind on Leonardo next month, it's always best to get these champions now, because if you, let's say for some reason people find out that Granyt Doorkeeper might be an actual keeper in the future, you might be like, wish I got him when I could, because otherwise these are gonna be highly elusive to get your hands on them in the long run. But besides this, we have a couple other champions that were thrown into the mix here. Check it out, we have 4 new champions. So we also have this new Void Legendary defense champion, Klazog Keyhulk, and check this out. Let's go check it out what he's got here. So Dead Tone, the basic ability attacks enemy, transfers all debuffs from this champion to the target before the attack. All right. 75% chance placing a true fear debuff. Cool. This debuff cannot be resisted by bosses. Damage based on defense. Okay. Check this out. Seismic Dissonance. Cooldown of 4. Attacks all enemies. After the first hit, you get 75% chance to place a 6% decreased defense. 25% weaken. Nice stuff, right? And then after the second hit, 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy. Decreased resistance as well. And they cannot be resisted by bosses. All right. Nifty. Mindless Muscle. Place a counterattack buff on all allies for 2 turns and an unkillable buff. That sounds nice. Unkillables are always fun to play with. Also places a taunt buff on this champ for 2 turns. If a boss is present, all buffs become protected. Very helpful against big bosses out there. Drone of Agony passive, whenever Klazag places a debuff, he deals bonus damage equal to 1% of the enemy's max HP for each debuff up to 10%. Occurs once per skill. It's got a decrease on the aura as well. So pretty nifty stuff. We've already talked about Granyt Doorkeeper quite extensively. Actually, I'm curious. Let's see what does he have him ranked as? Klazag. Let's see here. Duplicate this tab real quick. Klazag. What does he say about this? C-L-A-A-Z-A, right? That's how we spell it. Let's see. Actually, then check it out. Let's see. Klazag. Load. All right. Klazag Key Hulk. Yeah. I was going to say, this champion actually feels more interesting than Granyt for whatever reason. Yeah, so 5-star overall. Not sure we're going to get a hold of, but look at this. In the bosses, amazing. So maybe a little unfortunate we're getting the other one. But, you know, if you do have the opportunity, you got Grandma's 3 wacky numbers, you have the resources hoarded up, just keep in mind, Leonardo's on the card. If you don't care about Leonardo and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, this guy looks to be really, really good. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe a separate deck of fate. I don't know. We'll see how they decide to release him. Then we have Hilda. This is the epic that's required to fuse Granyt. Also, pretty interesting stuff going on. Actually, when I took a quick gander, you know, it seemed to be all right. You know, an all right epic overall. You know, 3.5 stars. You know, nothing to write home about. But again, at the very minimum, I recommend you at least get an epic, get a rare. Even if you're saving for Leonardo, or you just don't have the resources, definitely try to keep one at the very minimum here. Check it out. Basic can ignore 10% the enemy's defense. Critical hits at a 75% chance of stealing a random buff. Okay, and you can increase that a little bit more. You know, if you upgraded Shatter Limbs, attacks enemy 2 times. Each hit gains 10% more damage per debuff for the target, up to 100%. 75% chance to apply 100% heal reduction. Nice. Heal reductions are very, very helpful. Having more ways, especially against Amius, can come clutch. Then we have 4 Rothgleim. Attacks all enemies before attacking. Place a 50% increased attack buff on all allies 2 turns. 40% chance of applying stun for 1 turn. All right, you know, kind of a big cooldown on there. And then we have Fight Dirty passive. Allies deal 50% more damage to enemies under heal reduction or stun debuff, but it has to be from Hilda. That's the only condition. Only 1 instance applies per team. Has a nice little attack increase on the aura. And then the rare Glade Wolf. Kind of nice. And again, nothing that's going to be like super, super game changing. Not like maybe Painkeeper or Cold Art or something like that, but still overall. This is not what I'm looking for. Where the heck is that? I thought I had this up and running. Not Hilda. Oh my gosh. Where was this thing? I had it. I apologize. Is it too late to apologize? Is it... Let me show you guys real quick. I think it was 3.5. Are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Are you gonna make me? There we go. Glade Wolf. 3-star overall. Has some interesting stuff with ally protection. Again, seems like an okay rare, you know, especially if you're someone playing Raid Challenge and you don't have a Grandma's 3 wacky numbers, getting every single rare epic and use them is a big deal. And these are all right epics and rares here. Check it out. And it's a Void, Void rare defense. Yeah, Void champions, always nice to have. Always nice to have. Not too many of those. A rare with surprising depth, right? We got Provoke, Ally Protection, Self Counterattack, and we got some nice unique ability stuff here. So great for early content and setting up protective comps. So the basic ability, you're able to apply 30% decreased speed, sure. Ghostly Roots, 50% chance of applying Provoke. And then the Aru has that's actually pretty decent. 2 turns, sorry, you place a counterattack in the shape for 2 turns and 50% ally protection on all allies. That's nice, right? And then safety numbers reduce the damage taken by 5% for each ally under ally protection from this champion. So pretty nice stuff overall. For me again, Granyt Doorkeeper, I'm gonna go for him. I'm gonna see if I can try, even that Summon Rush, I'm gonna see if I can minimize as many Sacred Sites as I need to open to get just the rare. Maybe they'll drop it, because I think it was for Foul and Foulbearer that maybe it was a little bit more expensive than usual. So we'll have to wait and see how expensive they make it. But I don't intend on getting to Epic, that's for sure. We're not gonna go that hard on this event. So I'm gonna go for, I like doing the monthly fusion events, and I think I'm in a good spot for Leonardo in the following month. But you guys let me know. What are you thinking for this one? You know, unfortunately, there's not a lot of wiggle room to skip out on. You only just got that. But otherwise, nothing too drastic. Just a bunch of dungeon diving for the most part. And I'm not too concerned about this champion chase. I got a couple of champions I've been wanting to summon. We have ourselves Empress, so that's fine. I'm just going to do whatever this. Maybe I'll summon Ryan. So we're not going to pull any shards for that. So I'm in a good spot for Leonardo. Come next month, allegedly October 7th. But you guys, let me know what you're planning on doing for these next 2 weeks here. Man, I'm excited for October. A lot of good stuff. Raphael, Leonardo. Whew. It's going to be a banging month. But you know what else is banging? My giveaway code. Use the link down below. Scan the QR code. All you beautiful people who have new accounts, you're going to get 4 amazing champions straight from the get-go. Well, not from the get-go. What is it, Gary? What do you have? Corrado. Yes, the legendary right away. Gary, wow, you're actually somewhat competent today. Ugo at level 15, to go at level 30, and Deacon Armstrong once you hit level 40. Crazy stuff. And also, don't forget, you know, we got a bunch of amazing promo codes you can use just inside the game. My personal favorite, Demon Slayer. When you're in here, go to this. I mean, Monkey King's also good, but I'm actually of the variety where I prefer Demon Slayer. That's the one I would get because you know why? It's going to get you throwing foul beard, but unfortunately only available for new players. Thanks so much for stopping by. Leave that like, comment down below, subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And more importantly, always remember, it's great to be in the Empire today.
Oh, it's great to be in the Empire.